Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kodash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Hakim that are out there on the highways and the byways, pushing this truth across the four corners of the earth while we're trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect. This is Naaman, the DC branch of the Great Millstone, back with another video. Oh boy, you know, our people, luckily what I'm about to say doesn't hold true as much as it once did, because this stupid spell is wearing off. But this particular video has to do with South Africa and the Boers, and let me get started. Let me get you some history for those of you that don't know who I'm talking about. The Boers are those Dutch motherfuckers that took over basically down there, and let's see, are descendants of the, as it says here in Wikipedia, descendants of the Proto-Afrikaans speaking free burghers of the Eastern Cape Frontier in Southern Africa during the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. So we're talking about the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. Alright, from 1652 to 1795, the Dutch East India Company, alright, you know who set that up, controlled Dutch Cape Colony, but the United Kingdom incorporated into the British Empire in 1806. The name of the group is derived from Trek Boer, then later Boer, which means farmer in Dutch and Afrikaans. In addition, the term Boeren also applied to those that left the Cape Colony during the 19th century to colonize in the Orange Free State, Transvaal, together known as the Boer Republics, and to a lesser extent Natal. They immigrated from the Cape to live beyond the reach of the British colonial administration, with their reasons for doing so primarily being the new Anglophone common law system being introduced into the Cape and the British abolition of slavery in 1833. The term Afrikaners or Afrikaans people is generally used in modern-day South Africa for the white, so-called Afrikaans-speaking population of South Africa, the largest group of white South Africans, encompassing the descendants of both the Boers and the Cape Dutch who did not embark on the Great Trek. There are some classic movies about these motherfuckers. James Earl Jones was in one. I think it was Cry Freedom. And then there was another one with Danny Glover back in the day. It was called Bofa. Alright. You know, it's wow. You know, I'm not going to go into the Nelson Mandela thing, but, you know, that too, you know, whatever you think of him. But there's a lot of our people there. Alright. It says European colonists, the Dutch East India Company, alright, was formed in the Dutch Republic in 1602, and at this time the Dutch had entered the competition for the colonial and imperial trade of commerce in Southeast Asia. Alright, the end of the 30 Years' War in 1648 saw European soldiers and refugees widely dispersed across Europe. Immigrants from Germany, Scandinavia, and Switzerland traveled to the Netherlands in the hope of finding employment with the VOC. Alright, during the same year, one of their ships was stranded in Table Bay near what would eventually become Cape Town, and the shipwrecked crew had to forage for themselves on shore for several months. They were so impressed with the natural resources of the country that on their return to the Republic, they represented to the VOC directors the great advantages to be had for the Dutch Eastern trade from a properly provided and fortified station at the Cape. See, everything has to be theirs. These people, I call them a fleshy virus, and that's exactly how they act, like a virus, wherever they go. Alright, they operate on the, I'm thinking of Wisdom of Solomon, 2nd chapter, might makes right. That's all they care about. Alright, like I said, the natural resources. Alright, It says, as a result, the VOC sent a Dutch expedition in 1652 led by Jan van Riebeeck, who constructed a fort and laid out vegetable gardens at Table Bay and took control over Cape Town, which he governed for a decade. And then you had, of course, later on, roughly, I guess, well, I'm not going to jump ahead of myself, but VOC favored the idea of free men at the Cape, and many workers of VOC requested to be discharged in order to become free burghers. As a result, Jan van Riebeeck approved the notion on favorable conditions and then earmarked 2 areas near the Lisbeek River for farming purposes in 1650. Did anybody ever think to check with the, I don't know, the inhabitants of that region? I mean, again, this is who you've been dealing with. Don't care. Alright, what's yours is mine. What's mine is mine. The 2 areas which were allocated to the freemen for agricultural purposes were named Groenveld and a Dutch Garden. These areas were separated by the Amstel River or the Liesbeek River. 9 of the best applicants were selected to use the land for agricultural purposes. It's selected by them, of course. The freemen, or free burghers as they were afterwards termed, thus became subjects of VOC and were no longer its servants. In 1671, the Dutch first purchased land from the indigenous Khoikhoi beyond the limits of the fort built by Van Riebeeck. This marked the development of the colony proper. As a result of the investigations of the 1685 commissioner, the government worked to recruit a greater variety of immigrants to develop a stable community. They formed part of the class of, I don't even want to try that, alright, called, translated, free citizens. Alright, Dutch free immigrants, blah, 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 blah. French, so the French came in, well, let's get a little in on action. The French Huguenots, alright, who were political refugees from the religious wars in France following the revocation of the Edict of Nantes, alright, which was signed in April 1598 by King Henry IV and granted the minority Calvinist, oh, here we go, also known as the Huguenots. Now, I'm not going to go into the Huguenots because one, it's going to be much longer of a video than I intended, but it could be a case that they're talking about, Jakes. Alright, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just giving you a little, please read this for yourself. But I'm giving you a little background on these pieces of shit. Alright, how they want to lay in claim. Well, this is our land too. You always hear that, and you're going to see in this video, which is sad, but damn. Wait a minute, hold on here. Trek Boers. Okay, they're getting to indentured servitude amongst themselves, of course. Alright, so they blah 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 blah. Let's see. So you had some of their own people, say fuck the government, blah 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 blah. Sound familiar? Alright. Immigrants going at each other. Alright, it says the Gamtoos River had been declared, it says circa 1740, the eastern frontier of the colony, but it was soon passed. In 1780, however, the Dutch, to avoid collision with the Bantu peoples, agreed with them to make the Great Fish River the common boundary. In 1795, the heavily taxed burghers of the frontier districts, who were afforded no protection against the Bantus, expelled the VOC officials and set up independent governments at Swellendam and Grof Rennet. Alright. So the Trek Boers of the 19th century were the lineal descendants of the Trek Boers of the 18th century. Alright. So this is something that's, like I said, these people are like, I refer to them as fleshy viruses, because they got their own, got together amongst themselves and decided, to lay down some rules that, of course, the natives would have to, it goes further into the Dutch invasion of Cape Colony. To make a long story short, what happened is they got to where, because I was going to go into Shaka Zulu, but what happened eventually, the British and the Dutch would literally go to war with each other over rule over the dark people and that land. And that was they had two Boer wars in the late 1800s. Let's go to the Boer Wars. I didn't see it down here. Maybe I don't have to go out. Let's see, Boer States and Republic. Here it is, Anglo-Boer Wars. Following the British annexation of the Transvaal in 1877, Paul Kruger was a key figure in organizing a Boer resistance, which led to expulsion of the British from the Transvaal. The Boers then fought the Second Boer War in the late 19th and early 20th century against the British in order to ensure the republics of the Transvaal, and the Orange Free State remaining independent. Let's see. Then you had the Boer Revolt in 1914. He says, I don't want to jump ahead. After the Second Boer War, the Boer diaspora occurred starting in 1903. The largest group immigrated to the Patagonia region of Argentina and to Brazil. So they left, but they got that. Still, they want to lay claim to South Africa. I mean, it's all these people. We keep trying to tell as many as we can. This is according to the scripture. We cannot never trust these people. They are our enemy for a reason. Alright, let's go ahead and start this video, because you're going to hear one of these motherfuckers and they make no bones about they don't like us. They don't want to get along with us. Let's just go ahead and roll this.
Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Today we delve into a topic that for many strikes.
Just remember, before it starts, the background that I gave you, keep that in.
At the heart of South Africans' ongoing journey towards reconciliation and unity. Hello everyone, my name is Manidi Mfure, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News Channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our communities. Today we dive deep into the currents of information, from the pulse of politics to the heartbeat of entertainment. We've got it all covered, so please stay tuned for a news experience like no other. A statement made by an individual from the Boer community has surfaced, expressing a clear stance against unity in our country. Let's take a look.
There's
And that's the thing, if you caught that last bit there, let me rewrote it, because Jake, these motherfuckers do not like you. They are serious. Jake over here laughing and shit. These motherfuckers are not playing. Alright, just Jake still on playtime. Let's roll this, start this again. Now he's gonna make the statement later, but just notice the body language here.
Us against unity in our country.
Look there.
Let's take.
Look at them.
There's a certain amount of people which wants to create a nation of unity, and then there's us, the Boers. We don't take part in this, and we're not going to, and we're not going to go away, and we're the rightful owners of this land.
That's why I read what I read. Now, feel free to go ahead and, at length, go back over. All right, but man. Shit really ain't funny.
That doesn't mean we doesn't see the sunshine over other people. Okay, if you go back in history, you would actually see that the Boers have negotiated with the tribal chiefs and the kings, and we have seen them as equal, and we have give them their
That's some old, you see those dudes like, fuck you.
We can hear you.
If we want to share one country, we must first accept the realities.
Help me understand something. If we're gonna live in the same country, but you don't want unity, how do we do it?
We never wanted unity.
If you notice, this is always a one-sided thing. I mean, you will never see this in Britain with the so-called immigrants there. And although originally, you know, they were there first, because there's a huge power gap. All right, you will never see that. They're not going to make any. What's the word I'm looking for? You're not going to do anything special. All right, for us, for you. All right, because the heart of white supremacy is about control, absolute control. All right.
No, I accept what you're saying. I accept that. That's what you said. What I'm saying is, then how do we live in one country?
Oh, that's
how do we live in one?
Okay, we can live in this country happily if we have proper borders. So if the Boers have their land, and the Tswanas have their land, and the Zulus have their...
See, and this is another problem, because they come from a perspective like, you're bothering them. Oh no, it's the other way around. We're like, every time we try to get to ourselves, here you motherfuckers come. So you want to talk about borders? Alright.
Land. We do not want to mix leaf Joburg for the cosmopolitans and all this like
Sounds like apartheid, though.
Probably yes.
Okay.
In other words, I do not want unity coming from a member of the white Boer community. Open a window to the unresolved tensions that still linger in the fabric of South African society. It's a painful reminder of the divisions that apartheid entrenched, and that despite our progress, remain a collective of our psyche. Now, my initial reaction was one of anger. I do think it's time that we actually just stop seeking unity with white folks. And this just creates a narrative of racial harmony and color blindness. I think by acknowledging this, it will help acknowledge the inborn power imbalances and structural inequalities that define race relations in society, and will call for a re-evaluation of strategies for liberation and empowerment. Instead of seeking unity with white people, we as black folks must just focus on building our own institutions, networks, and forms of resistance that actually center around black voices and experiences.
See, all this black shit, all this, you know, we need to come together. No. And this is why we're out here on the highways and byways, because it has to start with this. All this talking about reparations and all this other bullshit. Our people have to be healed from the inside out first. All that, you know, just it's not going to work. In fact, it's going to be worse, far worse. All right, you want to see some ratchet shit? give people like, with the condition that our people are in now, give them a lot of money and see what happens. Alright? Boy, it's not going to work. That's why this system has to be destroyed and this man has to be pulled down out of power, because all this coming together, all this not going to work. Alright, under this power structure. Alright, we bring up scriptures like Sirach or Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 from 10 on down. Simply put, you're not supposed to trust these people, alright, because they are the wicked. Now, let's go get some definitions, because this guy, these people, this nation of Edom, these Edomites, Adawamium, they are the wicked, and as such, they're irredeemable. There are no redeemable qualities in them. I often say that in my videos, and that's true. Alright, adjective, they cannot be bought back or paid off, as with the remnant that is Israel, that elect part that's going to be redeemed. Alright, it says here 3, impossible to remedy. Hebrews 12 verses 16 and 17 tells you that. Well, let's get it. You don't believe me? And that's why we're here. No problem. Let's go to Hebrews. Alright. And this is for these Christians, these stupid, very dense. I mean, like someone once said, that Christianity is a hell of a drug, and Christianity is not in the scriptures. That's something that the enemy came up with to control our people. What the hell? Hold on. There we go. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. What does profane mean? Outside the temple. Alright. Who for one morsel of meat, you have to go to Genesis 25th chapter. Alright. Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. It wasn't stolen, he sold it because what? He had no integrity. 17. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So they can't repent. Alright? They can't. That's not something, an option that's open to them. Alright? Let's see. Alright, let's see. Insusceptible of reform. That's your nation of Edom. Insusceptible of reform. They, as a people, the elite of them especially, but it applies to all because the Most High deals with nations. Alright. They run this world. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The begging elite, which are Edom, run this world. Make no mistake. They don't give a damn about laws. This has to do with the golden rule. Who owns the gold rule? It's just that simple. Alright. Let's see. This is from being beyond remedy, hopeless. And they are. Alright. Synonyms. Incorrigible. Irrecoverable. Irretrievable. Incurable. Hopeless. That's your so-called white man, who are the wicked, right? Evil or immoral. Alright? Severe and distressing, highly offensive, obnoxious, which they are. Alright, evil in principle, this is number 6, evil in principle or practice, deviating from morality, contrary to the moral or divine law. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. Alright, second chapter. And I encourage you to read this in its entirety. It says the wicked think this life short. It's one reason they act like they do, because they believe you're here and you're done. What is that? YOLO. You know, you only live once. They believe in that. And of no other after this. Alright. Therefore they will take their pleasure in this and conspire against the just. And this is what they do. Alright. What that is which doth blind them. Alright. In the first verse it says, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. Again, YOLO, right? For the breath in our nostrils is as a smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart. Alright, let me skip on down here, because please read in between this, and I'm going to start going down here to around 10. Alright, and this is them. It says, verse 9, let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. You got all your monuments and all that thing, you know. For this is our portion, and our lot is this. 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Is that not how the so-called white man operates wherever he goes? Let me read 11 again. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy the transgressions of our education. Alright? And this particular part is talking about Yahushua. Alright? So, they are clean contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why everywhere they go eventually, when you go to Malachi, the first chapter, it tells you what? They are the border of wickedness, right? Wherever they go, you're going to see this. You notice a pattern. Alright, they turn things upside down. What's wrong is right in their eyes, and vice versa. Alright, Isaiah 5 and 20. This is them. Let's see, we got a little bit left. Let's see.
This includes supporting black-owned businesses, creating spaces for black empowerment and healing.
We already tried that, and that's why I said it has to be a thing where this whole system, this wicked-ass system, has to be brought down. That's why Yahushua has to come back. Alright. As it says in Matthew 24 and 22, if he doesn't, alright, there will be no flesh saved. Let me get that real quick. So we go to Matthew 24. I encourage you to read this whole chapter, because that's, hey, the times that we're in now. Alright. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So that's a guarantee. Those days shall be shortened. You know how fast time is sped up? in the last few years. You know.
And actually mobilizing for political social change on our own terms. Historically, black people have been at the forefront of movements for social justice and equality, advocating for an end to racial discrimination and oppression. Yet, of course, despite these efforts, the structures of power and privilege that uphold white supremacy have proven stubbornly resistant to change. From economic inequalities to police brutality to educational unfairness, the legacy of racism continues to shape every aspect of black lives. Whether it be hate crimes, police brutality, or everyday acts of prejudice, the message is clear. White South Africans do not want to share power, resources, or even space with black citizens. And so, the call to stop seeking unity with white.
Okay. Why should you want to be around them? I would think that we would have far more of a case for us not being around them, not wanting to be around them than vice versa. Just a thought.
Folks, is rooted in a recognition of the need for accountability and amends for the past and present injustices. It challenges white folks to confront their privilege and involvement in systems of oppression, and
they don't care. Our people need to get it into their minds that this person does not give a fuck. He is incapable. You have a race, a nation of people that are psychopaths. They were born this way. Psalms 58. Well, let's get it. Here you are wasting your time. Well, how come they don't love me? We're trying to tell you why, but you won't listen. You won't listen. It's been in that book that a lot of you keep on the shelf in the house that gathers dust. That's the only reason, that's the only reason you ever touch it is to dust it off. That's sad. I'm talking about Jake, I ain't talking about them folks. This is Psalms, well, let me start at 2. This is Psalms chapter 58 and 2. It says, yea, in heart, you, talking about them folks, work wickedness. You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Is that not who we're talking about? The wicked are estranged from the womb, you stupid ass Christians. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Alright? You need to read Sirach 33rd chapter. Alright, because this is set up from the beginning. Alright, Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter. Alright? Where you have love, you have to have hate. The Most High is about balance. Alright? Life, death. Let's get that real quick. I'm going to try to end on that. Let's start at 10. And all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of the earth. Adama. Alright? There were no red, leprous people running around at that time. The original peoples were of the ground, therefore they were a dark complexion. And much knowledge the Most High hath divided them, and made their ways diverse. 12. Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them hath he sanctified and set near himself, but some of them hath he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. As the clay, and you can also read Romans 9th chapter, which will answer so many questions. But this particular point here, we start at verse 17 on down. as the clay is in the potter's hand, to fashion it as his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as liketh him best. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. There you have it. And again, Romans 9th chapter, for those of you, well, I stay apocrypha, you idiot. You let your enemy, that's a whole nother video. I ain't gonna even go there now. But in any case, people love master so much. Let's see a little bit more what else you guys here.
Calls for actions to address the harm infliction of black communities.
The reforms from P.W. Botha can never really liberate us, because in any case, apartheid is a crime. It is an evil thing. How can you reform an evil thing? Apartheid, according to the late chairman of the PEC, John Nyati Pogela, cannot be reformed. It must be totally destroyed.
Now, with that being said, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts in regards to this? Do you think us as black folks need to keep striving for unity? Or
no, and that's another thing. We gotta get out of that black shit. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. Alright, we gotta get over this. And no, that's why I've been going over this whole thing. It's like some of our people just refuse, alright, to see the way things are. They refuse. They can't accept it. Alright. Unfortunately, this is generational. You've been conditioned because of these systems. And part of the curses are that, hey, we have to deal with motherfuckers like this. Alright? That's why this whole thing has to go. The system and them. Alright? The only true reparations, I have to bring that up because a lot of our people are expecting that. But the only true reparations are Revelation chapter 13 verse 10. Alright? He that leaveth in captivity shall go into captivity. Straight to the point. Alright, that's going to do, let's see, get a few comments here. Talking about that guy that was speaking, that Boer. Get him out. He poses a threat to your society. As a so-called black American man, I want no unity with Caucasians, period. Alright? Third one says most whites in South Africa think exactly like him, but not only in South Africa, but whites worldwide. Alright? You black South Africans better wake up. Nothing funny about that. That's what I was talking about earlier at the beginning. Nothing funny. Jake has a, it ain't funny, motherfucker's serious. Black people are forgiving. No way let's see, white people would stand for the BS that they put black people through if the situation was reversed. Good point. Alright. It says white people only understand violence. Exactly. Alright. They will never change. Our ancestors separated us from them for a reason. Because they knew how evil those people were and are. Alright. Let's see. And the other one here says, yet he refuses to go back to Europe. This is another one. See what I was talking about? That white guy is serious, and those that were standing behind him with their arms crossed, they were serious. But the blacks are laughing. The caves are calling, go back home. Why would any black person want to unify with someone like that is what I'm wondering. Duh. The balls to say that in a country you don't even belong in is wild. But that goes to the hubris of these motherfuckers, because for so long, all right, they've had they've operated with impunity. They've had their way. All right. Let's see. This is a local here. I'm 71 years young. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. during the time when it was called Chocolate City. The only close connection I had with white people was my school teachers and store owners on the corner of neighborhoods. Until this day, I haven't associated with them. It never interested me. Another one down here says, then they should just leave and go back to the Netherlands, and they can be surrounded by their own. Here goes, I'm glad I read some of these comments. Honestly, in America, we should have never integrated. Duh, 60 years later. Alright, we were better without interference. They steal everything. He's saying what they all feel. At least he's being honest. Okay, yeah. Get them out. Damn, it's your land. Let him remember, nobody invited him there. But that's it. Like I said, it's nothing funny about this. I like to get, the pulse of, get these comments. Alright? Because, yeah, what are you doing there? But again, about white supremacy, we have to control. Alright? Oh, boy, I'm going to end it there. So, yeah, there's... Whew. The balls on these motherfuckers. You gotta, like I said, everywhere they go, they call them a fleshy virus. Alright? Because that's exactly what they are. So with that, I hope whoever reviews this video, of course, is edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. Filter everything through the scriptures, as it should be. Like I say, it's coming to a point where and these so-called white people, wherever they may be, in this case I'm talking about South Africa, the Boers and the British, whatever have you, they sense that their time is up. Alright, with all this going on, people are being exposed. Alright, all kinds of things going on, make your head spin. Alright, but this is just a sign. This is just prophecy happening. So with that, and one more thing I like to emphasize before I go, I like to point out the benefit of prayer and fasting, right? Especially in the days that are coming up on us. Hey, do it. Hey, so with that, until next video, shalom.